actual desktop. It can't be done on the app. Okay, all right, drop off and pick up. Now, we are a lot of people, and drop off and pick up can get congested. So we are going to stagger. Oh wait, just kidding. Drop off happens whenever, because we know that children are children, so drop off does get staggered. You are welcome to walk your kids in. If you want to walk your kids in, please park in a parking spot. Walk your kids in, go back out to your car. Don't ever leave a vehicle. If you're in the pickup line, never leave your vehicle. Even if it's like, oh, well, no students are out yet, I'm just gonna go hop and chat with my friend who's just a car or two back. Please don't, because it does hold up the line when we get. So if you are in the pickup line, stay in your vehicle. If you want to stop and chat with a friend, go park. And then you get out and chat with a friend, but please don't leave your car if you are in that line. The doors to the front are never unlocked before 7:45. They are unlocked at 7:45. We have seen sometimes there's a lot of congestion that happens out at the doors, and students sometimes are misbehaving, even if parents are in the line, but they let their kids out of the vehicle. Please, please, please just hold on to your kiddos, wait until 7:45, and then you can send them in. If we have a big congestion out there of students and they're misbehaving, it's a liability issue for us. So please, please, please be responsible for your kiddos until 7:45, and we'll unlock the door at that time, and they're welcome to come on in. For pickup, we are going to stagger the pickup times. Now, this is not a hard, fast rule. If you have an appointment and you're like, I have to pick them up a little bit earlier, whatever the situation is, don't feel like you have to be super strict. We're only staggering it 5 minutes because most people pick up super fast. But we're doing A through L, pick up right at 2:30, and M through Z, 2:35. Again, those aren't hard and fast, so if you're having a hard time with your name time, that's okay. We're not gonna police these, but that goal is just to ease the congestion in the parking lot. So try your best to pick up within those times, if possible. If you're carpooling, just go ahead and stick with your last name. You don't have to worry about other people's last names. All parents have to stay in the vehicles in the line. When you pick up, we're gonna bring all of our students out, and we line them up by class, and our teachers are all there, and then we're gonna call them out to you. So if you just are in the line, just wait patiently. We will get your car and get it out to you. Sometimes a kid needs to go to the bathroom last minute, or there's that kid who's chatting with their neighbor, and even though we've called their name 7 times, they haven't come yet. So sometimes situations like that arise, but we are pretty fast at being able to get kiddos out as quickly as possible. If you find that like most of your car's with you, but you have that one kid that didn't come out, and the rest of the line moves, please move your van forward to move your vehicle forward to the front of the line, and then just wait or flag us down, and we'll let you know what's going on with the kiddo that's missing, and we'll make sure we get them into your car. Once the students are in your car, please get them safely, as quickly as you can, into seats. And seatbelted would be awesome. If it's gonna take a little bit of time, or if you have to get out of your car to buckle somebody in, if you could just pull around and get out of the line and get into a parking spot so that our line can move forward, that would be amazing. It's really hard when there's a one car that takes several minutes to load up and get ready to go. It holds up the line. Okay, authorized pickup. So in the school information systems, that SIS module that you're gonna hopefully you filled out already, but if you haven't, you'll fill out in the next day or so. You do have authorized pickup persons. Please make sure that anybody who is going to pick up your students is in that authorized pickup persons. We will not release them to anybody who is not on that authorized pickup person unless we have contacted you or heard from you. So if you have a one-time person, you're like, oh, my grandma or my mom's in town, grandma's gonna pick up the kids today. Send us a text message with her name. We can verify it and we'll be fine to go.
That list is for people that aren't parents, that aren't listed as parents in school.
Oh, that is true. So parents are automatically authorized pickup persons. So if you're a mom or dad, don't worry. You don't need to put them in as authorized pickup persons. You have 4 other authorized pickup persons, okay? And you don't have to fill them all out, but you can fill them all out. But we won't release students unless they're to those people. So please make sure that that is updated as accurately as possible. If there's a permanent change that you need mid-year, let us know. We can help you make that adjustment. School information systems does lock, so you can't change information throughout. It will lock. I think it's actually locked tomorrow. So you need to get that filled out today if you can. But it'll lock, and then you won't be able to change anything without coming to us and asking, and we'll grant permission for a certain period of time. Okay, I think I've harped on that long enough. How many times do I have stay in your car? Okay, General policies. So in our memo of understanding, we strongly recommend that children eliminate screen time for your children Monday. Actually, I think we say Sunday through Thursday. And the reason that we do that is there's an increasing amount of study, or there's an increasing body of research showing how children's brains and how their nervous systems are affected by screens. So a child's brain gets overstimulated by anything that's faster paced than normal life. So if you're watching home videos with your kids that have not been edited, that is not faster than real life. That's real life in real time. If it's a sped up video, if it's a movie that covers more than 90 minutes and 90 minutes of time, which is pretty much every single movie, it is going to hyperstimulate the brain. That's what happens, it hyperstimulates the brain. It gets worse if there's things with lots of lights and lots of flashing and a goal that you make and things like that, like games, video games and things like that, they hyperstimulate the brain even more. It takes a child's brain it takes a normal brain, any brain, 24 hours to come down off of that. So if you send a child, if they were on video games that morning, on Monday morning, and you send that kid into school, their brain is gonna have such a hard time focusing on the minutia of holding my pencil properly and doing my spelling sentences or coming up with the answer to this math problem. It is so slow and tedious to them. And it's not that it's slow and tedious, it's just that their brain is hyperstimulated. So that's why we're asking that. Also the nervous system. The nervous system is something that is it's a kind of a new body of research. I just started finding it just last year. And they talk about how the nervous system is affected. Our children's nervous systems are affected. And so then we're seeing more ADHD, we're seeing more ADD, we're seeing more autism even. And a lot of it is connected to that nervous system. There's a psychologist who will not diagnose children with any of those diseases or any of those mental illnesses until they have done a 4-week electronics purge. And she finds that most of the time, more than 75% of the time, their nervous systems regulate and all of those behaviors disappear. So please be super careful and cautious with technology. It can be a wonderful tool, but it also can be very detrimental. And so we just need to be aware of what's happening with technology and what it's doing to our children's bodies and to their brains. So that's why we ask that you eliminate it on Sunday so that they can calm down, their brain can calm down, and they can come in a normal state to be able to make the most of their school experience. Uniforms. We have our polo shirts are Monday through Thursday. Try again. Monday through Wednesday. They can wear them on Thursday, but Thursday is our day to wear our special Thursday t-shirt, and that was designed this year by Catherine and Chesney. Neither one of them are here tonight. I'm so sorry. They are on a trip together, actually. But Catherine and Chesney designed our t-shirt for this year, and that is allowed to be worn only on Thursdays. It can't be worn on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It's just a Thursday shirt. And then if they have a past Thursday shirt, they're welcome to wear that on Thursday as well. So any of our Thursday shirts from past years can be worn on Thursdays. Okay. Other just comments on uniforms. No leggings can be worn unless they are under an appropriate length skirt or dress. They need to, and the dresses are just the polo dresses if you happen to still have one. They were a limited time thing and we haven't been able to find them again. But we need to make sure they're not an excuse to wear a really short skirt. They need to make sure that leggings are only underneath an appropriate length skirt if they need some extra warmth. For our uniforms this year, I sent an email out with our uniform, or I sent a note out with our uniform email. They cannot wear anything on that covers up their polo inside the building. So if they're gonna have anything inside the building that they need, if it's a cold day inside or whatever, if you have a child that runs cold, they're gonna need to have an LYA jacket. And that's just because in years past, there's no point to having a dress code all winter because kids come in and they wear whatever they want to over the top of it, and some of it has caused issues in the past. So we're just that's kind of an over.
Long sleeve shirt under a polo.
Yes, you can put stuff under. So you can have a long sleeve shirt under a polo, because I know we don't have long sleeve polos at this time. So yeah, you can wear stuff underneath inside, but you can't wear anything over your polo inside the building. They can wear a jacket inside, and then they'll come in and take it off. But inside the classrooms or inside the building, we need to have just our polos being on the top or an LA jacket. Quick notes on Memo of Understanding. Hopefully you have all read it. Please, please, please read it. There are some updates in there. We need to make sure that we're adhering by it. Food, quick reminders. Food, we are only supposed to have clear beverages. And the goal there is that we don't have sticky, sweet, stainy beverages. So if your child brings in a water bottle and they bring in those cool packets you can stick in that turns it purple, that's not actually allowed. So please, 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 water is the best beverage. It's gonna be the most hydrating and the least sugar stimulating, right? Brain, I can't even tell you. what sugar does in a brain. Sugar, that's another thing that hyperstimulates the brain. It makes it very hard for your child to focus. All of us as teachers can promise you that like the one time a year, the 2 times a year that we have sugar in a class party, we don't get anything else done the rest of the day. Choir is a little ridiculous. I'm not sure why we're doing it. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure why we're doing this. We're just gonna have a fun game because they cannot sit and they cannot focus after they've had sugar. So please be aware, even those drinks, water is the preferred beverage. If you can possibly get away with water and then take a juice to pick them up or have it available for them at home, that's fine. But if they can stick with water at school, that's the best. Also, no cookies, no treats, no candy is allowed at school. So please don't send a cookie, a treat, or candy at school. I'm not taking any questions right now because I gotta get through some stuff. Okay, so no toys from home. No books from home, no toys from home. All of that needs to stay at home. We do have our school library back. I'm so excited to have our school library back. So your student will be able to find books to read. But please leave everything at home at home. It gets really, really hard. Sometimes we have kids that come out, they pull out toys, and then we don't know for sure if they're the school's toys, if they're their friends' toys, and it causes a lot of issues in the classroom. So no toys, even in their backpacks. They're not supposed to bring any of that to school. So please leave it all in the car and leave it all at home. They just need the school stuff for school. We have plenty of toys, plenty of activities for them to play for or play with during recess time. Okay, we are only Monday through Thursday, so absences Monday through Thursday are very hard. If your child is going to miss in the middle of the week for a dentist appointment, they are going to miss something important. So if you can at all schedule all of your appointments on Fridays or during a break, that's awesome. If it absolutely has to happen, we understand that happens sometimes, but when we have students consistently missing for orthodontics appointments or things like that, we do see a difference in their retention. So please, please, please try to make sure that if you have any appointments to make, they are made on Fridays. Every student needs to bring a snack every day, a water bottle that is labeled. I'm gonna say it one more time. A water bottle that is labeled. The number one thing we have in the Lost and Found is jackets. The number 2 thing that we have in the Lost and Found is water bottles without names, and I can't figure out who they belong to. I would say at least 80% of our water bottles are not labeled every year, even though it's on the school supply list, it's clearly stating label it. So please label it. It helps immensely if you will label your water bottles. And then they also need to have their lunches. We do not provide lunches here, so they will need to bring in their lunches, other than Cora Pizza Days, which there will be more information on. In every classroom, there is a mini fridge and there is a microwave. We are not going to go to the park this year. We're going to do all of our lunches and our recesses here because we have plenty of space, and I'm super excited about it. And we're going to set it up really well. So that means that they can use the microwave every single day. So if your kid just hates sandwiches, I totally understand. I've been there. You can utilize the microwaves every single day. The mini refrigerators are not big enough for everybody to put their entire lunchbox in. They're a mini refrigerator. So if there's an item in their lunch that you would like to have refrigerated, just make sure that that item is labeled and that it can go in their fridge separate from their lunchbox because their lunchbox won't fit. Okay. All right, student folders. All right, every student is going to get a folder. They're either going to be blue if you're in elementary, or if you're in middle or high school, they're going to be red. This is going to come home with your student every Thursday. This and school cues is the way that you're going to get all information from your teachers, from all of us. You're only going to get it through this and school cues. So please, please, please take the time to review this. Inside this, on the left-hand side, that's parent notes. So every week we're going to send you a calendar, and we're also going to send you a letter that was written by your teachers that summarizes what was learned that week. So if you're curious what your kid does in school, and every time you come home they say nothing, you can refer to that parent letter and find that they actually did learn something. And if you ask them questions, they're probably going to be able to give you the answers. Homework's going to go in this side. When projects come home every month, or twice or 4 times a year for a foundations class, but when those come home, they're going to come home in this side of the folder. Also is completed work that we don't want to keep at school. You brought in those 2-inch binders. Everything that is on the right-hand side is going to be student work that we would like sent back to school, so we can put it into that 2-inch binder, and they'll have a record of what they've learned at the end of the school year. Okay, so what you're gonna do when you get home, all you kiddos, are you ready? When you get home, you're gonna take your blue or red folder out of your backpack. You're gonna put it in a very obvious place on your mom's counter, or your dad's counter, whoever would be most likely to look at it. And then hopefully they're gonna take this side, pull it all out, and keep it at home. And this side, you can look through and celebrate with your child and put it back in their backpack. So when they come back, we love to see this side empty and this side full. Make sense? If this side gets too full and then it makes it so that the folder breaks. So if we can pull those out, that's always awesome. Okay, reading calendars. If you are, does Prescholar still sends out reading calendars? Yes. Okay, so in this side, in the left side of the folder, for foundations class, there's going to be a reading calendar every month. So if you have a student in kinder or first, there's going to be a reading calendar in there every month. You are supposed to track their reading with them at home. We do self-report for older students, but our kinder and our first have no idea if they read, and they normally either way under report or way over report and say they read for 10 hours that day, which would be super impressive, but I doubt it happened. So we have parents help their students record their reading throughout the week. Reading 30 minutes a day is homework for every single one of our students. So if you have a student here, they should be reading for 30 minutes a day. In kinder and first, that might look like reading with them, right? They're not necessarily going to be able to read as much independently. You can read with them, and that's totally fine. Lots of things can count as reading, but we want them in books for 30 minutes a day. For all of the older kids, if you're in second grade on up, you're going to have, well, not high school, but they're going to have a reading calendar on this side for them to track over the weekends. We are going to do a daily report on what they read the day before. But Monday rolls around and it's like, wait, Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. What did I do? I think I had a game on Thursday and maybe on Friday, but they can't figure it out. So please record over the weekends, and then they'll have that back, it'll just live in their folder on that left-hand side so that they can remember what they read over the weekend.
And what's the purpose of the report? What are they?
Oh, so that's, we're tracking homework. That is a homework tracker. And also the top readers, honest reporting readers, every quarter will win a free book. So we have, I think, 2 or 3 book winners per class every quarter that will win a free book. And that book has to be approved by their teachers. It can't just be anything. But that's the goal. That's what they're trying to get, is a free book. Okay, availability. So our wonderful, wonderful staff work really, really hard to make school happen for your kiddos. And they want to communicate with you as much as possible. That said, you outnumber them. You outnumber all of us. And so there are times when we need to be available to our families. So after school hours, we might be intermittently available, but we're not necessarily going to be solidly available. So after school hours, you'll get text messages and you can communicate with teachers and staff and all of that, and that's fine. After about 7 o'clock, we're gonna drop off, because that's the time that we need to be with our families. We need to be home. We need to be sleeping, and we need to be getting ourselves ready so that we can have that next day. So if you text us late at night, we're not going to respond, and that's okay. It doesn't mean we don't love you and we don't care about you. It just means that it's late, and we'll respond tomorrow morning once we get to school, and probably after staff meeting. So it probably won't be until right about drop-off time that you're going to get a response. That doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that we need to have some time when we're able to focus on our families and ourselves. Weekends, we may not be available on Saturdays and Sundays. We will definitely not. Sundays, we will never respond to anything. And that's not because we don't love you, but that's our day to give to Heavenly Father, and so we don't work on Sundays. So even, if it's a crazy emergency, I will glance at my phone, and if I see it's a crazy emergency, I will respond, but otherwise I'm not gonna respond on a Sunday. And I will respond first thing on Monday when I get into school. Let's see. Projects. When projects are due, please do not wait until Saturday or Sunday before a project is due on Monday and ask your teacher questions about it. At that point, your kid should be polishing it up and they shouldn't have any questions. So projects are when we ask that you please, please, please look at those projects. They're given to you with 4 weeks. You have 4 weeks typically. Sometimes we'll give you a 3-week project if it's something that's fairly small and it's not going to take as much time. But please make sure that you take the time to ask your questions ahead of time, to get working on that project early so that you don't have questions the Saturday before a project is due, and then you end up not getting the response that you need. Okay, throughout the day, teachers may get texts, but they may not be able to respond because during the school day, their #1 priority is your students. So if you need to get a hold of someone for something, please text one of the admin staff. So, I'm gonna introduce admin really fast. Destiny, wave your hand. This is Sister Harris. She's amazing and wonderful. So she's gonna be one of our admins that she'll be out at the front desk, and you can contact her if you need anything. She's wonderful and awesome. And then, do we have Nicole in here? Oh, okay, just kidding. Oh, there's the wonderful. Then we have Sister Day over here in purple. Wave, she's awesome. She's gonna be the finance. So if you have any questions on enrollment, if you have any questions on SIS, if you have any questions on any of your invoices or anything like that, that is the wonderful Sister Day. She's gonna help you, and she'll also be out at that front desk, so you'll see her a lot. Most often, it's gonna be one of the two of them that's gonna answer the phone. We have a school phone number, guys. We have a school phone number. It's not just mine anymore. Our school phone number that's gonna be posted on our door, don't worry. And we'll update it on all of the things. It's 520-284-2444. I don't have it memorized yet, but I will. But they will probably be the ones answering that phone call. Brother Hayes and I are probably gonna be in classrooms. That's our goal, is that we can be in classrooms and we can get to know your students and we can be as helpful as we possibly can be in that arena. But if you need us, we're always able to pop right back out. If you need to pop in the middle of the day and ask a question, or a drop off or pickup or whatever like that, whatever, we are very available. I have made my schedule, I felt like I needed to make my schedule more available to be there for parents and teachers. So I will be here, we will be here.
Yeah, so if you have our mobile phones, it's not like you can't text us anymore, but if you need to get a hold of somebody and you want to make sure you can, that number, that 520-284-2444 is how you'll do it, to make sure you grab somebody that's not tied up in something else.
You just had to show me if you had it memorized. Yes, so that number, if you text us, we'll respond as soon as we can, but we might miss it. But if you need someone urgently, call that number. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm almost done, guys. Classroom discipline. We do use the green, yellow, and red cards for classroom discipline. We compare these to stop signs or to stoplights. So I always say, if your parents pull up to a red light, are they in trouble? Yes, someone's nodding their head back there. No, they're not in trouble, right? Red just means we need to stop, because our driving behavior at the moment is not okay. So sometimes behaviors that we can do at home aren't okay at school. Bummer. Sometimes behaviors during recess aren't okay during a lesson. Darn. So there's going to be things that we are going to learn and practice, things like raising our hand and waiting until we're called before we get to speak out. Things like using walking feet inside the school building. Running feet aren't bad, but they are bad inside the school building because they can cause issues. So we need to make sure that we are safe and that we respect the environment. So we always tell them, it's just like red lights. It's just like yellow lights. Red means stop. Yellow should mean slow down. There's always that kid that says it means speed up. It doesn't mean speed up. It means slow down, and that's what our yellow card is for. And then green means go, you're doing awesome, okay? It means that you've figured out the things that are asked of you at school, okay? So if they get on a red card, please don't think that they're in trouble. They're not. They're not in trouble. There might be a situation that has arisen where maybe they got a little physical, and that will be a red card. But most often, it's not that they're in trouble. It means that they just they have repeatedly not followed the rule that has been reinforced. So they'll go from red to yellow, and then from green to yellow, and from yellow to red in the cards. If your child gets turned to a yellow card, we're not going to contact you. That happens frequently, and it's not anything bad. It doesn't mean anything negative if they're put on a yellow card. It just means that they need to slow down and think about their behavior a little bit more. That's all it means. If your child ends up on red card by the end of the school day, we will let you know, and that's just because it tends to be emotional on the kiddo. So we'll let you know the situation that happened. Most often it doesn't need any action at home. We are able to handle pretty much most of our behavior issues here, but you will be notified if your child ends up on red card. The points of those cards are earning points for field trips. So our good behavior helps us to earn points for field trips. And also returning these folders on Monday so that we can do your binders and we can have everything set up, and then we can sort and have them back and ready to go to your student, home with your student again on Thursday. That all earns points for the field trips. So at the beginning of the month, the teacher will have a point goal for the class, and your child needs to earn that many points through green cards and bringing their folders back on Monday. If they bring their folder back on Monday, they get 100 points. If they bring it back on Tuesday, they get 50 points. If they bring it back on Wednesday, they get 0 points. Or Thursday, 0 points. If they end the day on green, they get 20 points. If they end the day on yellow, they get 10 points. If they end the day on red, they get negative 20. So it does take away a green card when we're on red at the end of the day. So that's kind of our motivation for it. We get to go on our field trips. It won't sneak up on you if they're not supposed to go on. If they don't have enough points to go on a field trip, your teacher will reach out ahead of time and potentially work out a plan. If it's something that the student really shouldn't be going on that because they have willfully disobeyed and been pushing those boundaries, then they might need to miss a field trip here and there. If they're doing their best and they still don't have points, then we show compassion, because that's not necessarily, we want the goals to be within their realm of can. We understand that kids are kids, and that's okay. They're allowed to be kids here. Okay, recall. Recall is from 7:45 until 8 o'clock in the morning. We ask that students be dropped off at 7:45. Recall is super, super helpful for us as teachers. We use that as a grading tool. We use it to help us to gauge what your student is retaining from the science and the history and the religion lessons that we teach, the liberty studies lessons that we teach. So if they are here during that time, it is very, very helpful. It is not required for kindergarten through middle school. It's not required for those grades, but it is very helpful during those grades. So we ask that they can, if you possibly can, to be here at 7:45. In high school, it is required. So if they are not here at 7:45 and able to do their bell work, they are going to have to make that work up at another time during the day or take it home and turn it in that next morning. So that is in high school it is required, so please be aware of that. All of our email addresses are now .org. We realized, oh yeah, we're a nonprofit. We can't have .com email addresses. So all of our email addresses are the same ones as before. Braden at libertyyouthacademy.org, Bonnie at libertyyouthacademy.org, Nicole, Destiny, and all of your teachers, same way. Okay, Track It Forward. Volunteer hours. We use Track It Forward to track our volunteer hours. This is on you guys to track. We are not going to track your hours for you. We are not, there's so many of you, we can't even keep it straight. I have some parents let me know, oh, remember I did this, and I'm like, oh, sorry, if it's not in here, I can't retain that. So this is on you guys to track your hours, and it's on you guys to keep up with that. We will send reminders every quarter. We are going to sum up the hours. We'll send out an email to everybody. Actually, it'll probably be Nicole or Destiny. They'll send out an email to everyone saying, hey, please update your hours because the quarter is ending. Quarters end right before fall break, right before winter break, right before spring break, and at the end of the last day of school. So the goal is 10 hours per quarter. We made that easier. It used to be 13, now it's only 10. So that means it's roughly about an hour a week. You can do that lots of different ways. You can, well, let's go through here. So this is what the app looks like. If you download the app right now and track this hour before tomorrow, you will get this hour tracked as your volunteer hours. So please pull out those phones and let's track some hours real fast so that we can make sure that everybody gets this. Because I can see on my end who has accessed this and who has not. And again, it's nice and easy if you guys do it real quick. We do ask that only one parent per household has this app and tracks it so that we can keep it nice and easy and clear on our end. When there's two, it gets a little confusing for us. Okay, so this is what the app looks like. When you open the app, it's going to have this beautiful green tree, and it's going to say track it forward. And then this is what it looks like. It'll have your name at the top, hours, date, activity, and notes. It'll autofill the date of today. So if you update your hours the day you did it, it's nice and easy. If not, you'll have to go back and have to change that date. Once you get there, you can click on the drop down for the hours, and it has the hours. So this is again on the app on your phone. So you can go through, I clicked an hour, and it updated. Now I have 1 hour, and then I'm going to click this drop down, and all of these things come up. So look, back to school night is the top one. Then classroom helper, you can do grading, you can help with after school programs. There's some really fun after school programs coming this year. We would love your help. And more details on that coming because we don't want to keep you too long tonight. But lots of fun after school programs. If you help with the PAC, if you're on the PAC, that all counts if you come to PAC meetings. If you are interested in a PAC role, please let me know. Field trip driver, chaperone, school improvement projects, that might happen on the land, or even here we might have projects that we have. And then there's always other, because there's different things that pop up throughout the school year, and I will send a email saying, hey, this is an opportunity if you want to get some volunteer hours. You can do it weekly if you want to. You can do it just in a mass week if you want to. You can spend a couple days at school and you can make up those volunteer hours. It's up to you how you do it, but please keep that in mind. Each quarter is about 9 weeks long. I think it's 9 weeks, no, 10? I don't remember now. Now I feel like I'm off. Anyways, I feel like it's 9. So maybe 10 is a little bit more than an hour a week. But I think they're about 9 weeks long. So if you didn't get that through, you're like, okay, I need to make sure that I get my hours in. So then you're gonna click on just which activity you participated in and then hit submit and you're done. It's really that easy. So we try to make anything that you have to track or you have to turn in for your students as easy and simple as possible, but this helps us immensely if you will update as you go. It makes it a lot easier for us. Okay, for after school programs, we have a long list from our Zion's Council last year that they came up with our students. So we will send out that list and we'll try to see if we can make some of those things happen that your students really want. They really want a board game club, and I feel like I want to do that one. But we do have a parent who's interested in doing a debate club and teach your students to build with aircrete, a kind of lightweight concrete. So if you want to help with that one, you're welcome to let us know, and we can put you in contact with the right people to make that happen. So again, this is your responsibility. I will send out options. And there's always helping supervise at lunch, helping with grading, coming into a classroom. Those are always options for you to help with. I will send out lots of options, but I am not going to track your hours, and I'm not going to reach out to you and say, hey, you only have an hour. You need to get up to 10 by next week. That's not on me. That's not on any of our staff. That's on you guys. So please, please, please just make sure that you remember that's your responsibility. That's all I've got.
I trade you.
Yes.
All right, so kind of along with that, we have a lot of, kind of going back to that list of things that the Zion's Council last year said they would like to have happen. So they had things like, there's an interest in doing soccer, or we had a couple of parents last year do a little basketball camp for once a week for 8 weeks. The parent that wants to do the debate club or do this building with aircrete, it sounds super cool, and we've got projects that we could do, like, I don't know, make a chicken coop out of that or something, because the kids would really like chickens when we get out to the land. So there's all kinds of ideas. Some of those, when you hear them, you may think that is too much for me to do by myself. And in that case, that may be true on some of those. So just keep in mind, if you do want to do something for soccer and it takes up enough time, you want to do a season for a few months, and that gets your 40 hours for the whole year, cool, that's fine. You can always go ahead. Or if teaming up with somebody, maybe you can't do it all yourself, but if you had a team of 3 adults that could come together and make that happen, then it would work and it would keep the workload good, and we could do it. Let us know. So that's kind of what this parent who reached out about the debate club and building with aircrete. If you're interested, let us know, and we'll team you up, and we can get a small group of people helping make these happen to kind of lighten the load. So please reach out, let us know. I wanted a couple of other little housekeeping. I promise we really are actually close to being done here. For high school students, we do have an open campus for high school. There are permission forms for that if you are okay with your child leaving school campus during lunch, you have to let us know, and you have to let us know who you're okay with them driving with. Or if you have a driver, we need permission for them to drive and to be able to take other students. And anyway, so it's all in there. If you have questions about that, Brother Hibbard over here in the high school class, when we break here in a minute, can help with that. Actually, real quick, I wanted to share, so that's mostly the kind of the housekeeping items. If you didn't drop off your supplies, you can do that out front here with Nicole. After we're done here, you're welcome to stay and go visit classrooms. If you've already visited classrooms, you're welcome to leave, but we'll be here for questions. If you have concerns, please let us know. I did want to share a poem that I think is really applicable for us. I shared this last year, so you may have heard this before, but the world is a little bit crazy right now. We're coming into the last days, or we've been there for a while, and there's new challenges, new trials that happen all the time. And you hear sometimes, I've spoken with folks that wonder if it's safe to even raise kids in this environment with everything that's going on in the world. And I love the answer that this poem gives to that question. It says, don't feel sorry for or fear for your kids, because the world they're going to grow up in is not what it used to be. God created them and called them for the exact moment in time that they're in. Their life wasn't a coincidence or an accident. Raise them up to know the power they walk in as children of God. Train them up in the authority of His word. Teach them to walk in faith, knowing that God is in control. Empower them to know they can change the world. Don't teach them to be fearful and disheartened by the state of the world, but hopeful that they can do something about it. Every person in all of history has been placed in the time that they were in because of God's sovereign plan. He knew that Daniel could handle the lion's den. He knew that David could handle Goliath. He knew Esther could handle Haman. He knew Peter could handle persecution. He knows that your child can handle whatever challenge they face in their life. He created them especially for it. Don't be scared for your children, but be honored that God chose you to parent the generation that is facing the biggest challenges of our lifetime. Rise up to that challenge. raise Daniels, Davids, Esthers, and Peters. God is not scratching his head and wondering what he's going to do with this mess of a world. He has an army he's raising up to drive back the darkness and make him known all over the earth. Don't let your fear steal the greatness God placed in them. I know it's hard to imagine them as anything besides our sweet little babies, and we want to protect them from anything that could ever be hard on them, but they were born for such a time as this. I know we've covered a lot of kind of little minutiae details, and everything that we've talked about is all trying to create an environment where we can help partner with you as parents, raise those Daniels and those Esthers to face the world that we're living in today. So if you're coming across something in the memo of understanding, or there's a policy you don't understand what that connection is, ask us and we'd be happy to explain it, because there is a connection. Every single one of the things in that memo of understanding is there because it helps us create the environment that allows us to do that. So I hope that didn't come across as just like beat down the whole time. There's a purpose behind all of it, but we thank you for your time sitting here listening to that. We are so excited to get this school year started and to get to know all of your kids better. I truly believe what that poem was talking about, that we are in the presence of greatness. We you see it all the time, and we get to see that during the school day. So thank you. Real quick, I want to introduce, if I can have our teachers stand up, all of our teachers. So Brother Hibbard over here is teaching high school. That's this class over here. So if you'd like to go say hi. Let's see, we're going to do this room first. Then we have Sister Cold in the back. She's in the back corner. She's middle school, 6th through 8th. We have Brother Johnston, who's going to be in this class back here, 4th and 5th. And then Sister Morris is oh man, I totally skipped one. Is K1 and up here. And then Sister Hibbard is 2nd and 3rd, clear in the back through the door over there. So, these are wonderful teachers. I can't tell you how hard these guys work. It's a sacrifice, but it's a blessing to be able to work with your, I don't want to say sacrifice, that doesn't sound quite right. It is so much work, but it is worth it, and we love every minute of it. So we'll go ahead and end. So feel free to dismiss. If you have any questions, come find one of us, and we'd be happy to help you. Thank you. I look forward to a great year.